Howdy, everybody, and welcome to Friday. Congratulations to make it the win of the week. And for you folks that stayed up late last night to watch the Chiefs not cover against the Chargers, which is fine with me because that was a winner for me. Unfortunately, at the ballpark in KC, not so much. We'll talk about it next as we roll the end of season Monarchs Mocha, the goodbye edition. Well, goodbye for right now. In 3, 2, 1, here we go. Oh, the groovy coffee music, always a treat, right? Aren't you guys going to miss that groovy coffee music? But you get the good thing is you get the groovy jazzy mix that we play on Ren Reborn, which is weeks away. I mean, we're not too far away. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Monarchs Mocha, brought to you by the Roastery Coffee Company, 6 locations in Kansas City. Dan, good to see you. Anna and Tim. That way, congratulations to the to Anna as well. But anyway, well, I did not think we'd do this show today from here. I kind of thought we'd do this show. My idea was to do this show on the bus for fun and giggles, but didn't work out that way. Red Hawks at Fargo Moorhead winning a much-deserved series. Tip the cap to them. They are a deserved division playoff champion. Let me rephrase that. Playoff champion. They didn't win the division. Did not win the division in the regular season. But the ultimate prize they're playing for. And so that's the thing. I think there's some confusion there. And the league sort of let that happen because I don't think they really have thought that through. Your division champion versus division champion. You can't have two, right? But those are semantics. I mean, those are syntax, right? But congratulations. That was outstanding. I just emailed Chad Ekron, their relations guy. Sorry about that. Let's do it this way. Had a long conversation, pretty long conversation with Jack Michaels, their play-by-play guy. And Jack had to drive all night last night from Kansas City to Fargo this morning, repack, shower, and then drive to Grand Forks, an hour north, to fly from Grand Forks on a charter with the University of North Dakota football team to Flagstaff to play Northern Arizona. So he had a busy night. So congratulations to him and just to them. I told them what I'll tell you. I do not apologize for being a homer. Now, if I'm calling games for a network, it's a different story. But if I work for a brand and I cover a brand, and especially this brand where you're talking about the Monarchs and the museum and all the history, it's hard not to be a homer. And I've said it before, you can't travel with these guys, get to know them. I'll use Christian Correa for their team as a great example. He had a home run last night. It broke my heart. I even told him that. It breaks my heart, but I'm so happy for him because I got to know him. He was here a couple of years ago. You can't get to know these people, as players, as people, I guess I should say, and coaches and staff, whether it be, Morgan Kalinda or, the intern that started, the intern that came midsummer, whatever. You can't be around these people in this business, in any business. You can't go to work to battle whatever people every day and not have a caring heart and not care about those people, and even the ones that leave. So while it broke my heart that Christian hit the home run, I was so happy for him and messaged him afterwards and wish him the best. Because a lot of journalists will tell you, well, I'm a journalist. I can't be biased. That's true. If you're taking photos with a credential that says a media credential, you're not cheering, right? You don't cheer. That went on this week. That's okay. That happens at this level, but media people aren't supposed to cheer. I get that. But if you're working for the ball club in the broadcast capacity or whatever, there's some leeway there. And I'm the broadcaster of the ball club. I'm the voice of the ball club. I see it all. I'm with them all the time, right? So I'm with Joe every day. I see the ups and downs. I see things that I don't always talk about because it's privileged information. I'm not going to share a guy's personal tragedies or whatever. And there've been some over the years when guys have had hurts, and I've just left them alone and not talked about them there because it wasn't merited for conversation or anybody else. So I'm privileged in that department. And so anybody that tells me in journalism school, you can't, blah, 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 what, that's not true. That's only true if you're covering them for an outlet. If you're working for an outlet as a credentialed media person, and that's your job is to write the story about the game, then yeah, you're not biased. If you're Joe Buck and Troy Aikman or whoever the TV crew is now, who was it last night? I forget. Anyway, you're a national broadcast. You're supposed to be even, right? I saw last week, I thought Robert Grimmer III, former Heisman Trophy winner from Baylor, he did the BYU Baylor game. I thought he did pretty good, considering he's a Baylor guy. They have a statue of the guy outside the stadium in Waco, and he was on TV on ESPN. I thought he did pretty good, considering he's a Baylor guy, and they lost to BYU, and he was very, very professional. And that's hard to do. The biggest compliment I ever got as a broadcaster overseas was when I was doing the national call for the Australian Baseball League, and Canberra was playing Perth, and I had a player message me saying how much he appreciated the coverage, that he was worried we'd be biased. We were the Perth team, but we actually called it from a national perspective. And you can still be a local guy. You can still cover the Monarchs and still think that Fargo did a great job. And they did. So it's a big round circle. So anyway, a lot of hurts here today, a lot of pain. Yeah, Christian is a down-to-earth guy. He's a really good dude. I call him dude. He's a good person. He's just a good person. But again, that's what I did today. Initially, I was laying in bed. I didn't go to bed last night until about 3:45 or 4. I probably went to bed later last night than I did last year in the championship celebration because I didn't want to leave the booth last night. I didn't. Wrote the game story. I sat there. Their celebration was long gone. They actually celebrated pretty heavily, but got out of there. They didn't mess around. They got their celebration done and went on about their business. Our guys started packing up. A couple of guys left last night. I think Pete Cosmo drove all night to Tulsa. All night it's 3 hours, right? 3 hours in Tulsa. 3 hours in Tulsa. So the country song, doesn't it? Let's put this up on the screen too. There we go. Let's do it. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. Anyway, so I sat there, got a really good email from Art Brandmeier to the staff. I watched the place like I always do. I sit there every night doing stuff, but last night was a little different. Usually my wife knows this. We'll take the crowd mic out, turn the gear off. But last night I left the window open, close the window. But and usually it's hot or whatever, want the air to go. I just sat there, didn't pour a drink, I just had my coffee, iced coffee. May have been why I was up so late. Just sat there and reflected on you all as fans, the team, the ups and downs. And believe me, there are ups and downs that you'll never know, and it's not important. It was a challenging season for me. I mean, it was a very challenging season. They're always challenging. This one especially hard. I sat in this chair and did a game remotely, and that was something I couldn't believe I was doing, and I fought through it. It hurt. But we fought through it. We grew our broadcast. We made some mistakes along the way, all around the ballpark. We always do. We also did some really good things. We had some big successes. I mean, Tacos and Tequila was huge. Huge. Obviously, the bananas back in May was a big deal. I mean, we had some really great things happen, and I reflected on all those things. Then I reflected on I saw the bus pull away because it was supposed to. It was there in case we need to go tomorrow morning or today rather. The bus rides, the guys. Well, some of those guys I'll never see again, and it's funny because there's relationships I don't build and some I do build. Right? And I just miss a guy. Right? I mean, I'll use. I think I'll see Jacob Lindgren again, or he plays here or somewhere else. I think I'll keep in touch with them. The guys that play overseas, I keep in touch with the Australian connection. Texas guys, families, families of players. I mean, there's also some I never see again. There's been players over the years that I kind of sort of forget they played here until I go back and go, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Who was it that we were talking about in 2017 that was the now works the Orioles front office? It was, I can't remember now. It was 18 team. We had a pitcher in 18. I can't remember his name now. Oh, Adam Blade. Adam Blade in 18, who pitched for us in relief, now works the front office of the Orioles. I've never seen him since then, but I just know it's where he works. But again, I never saw the guy again. I know one day we'll cross paths or something. You know, some guys I've got on social media, and Christian or Tommy Collier, whoever, but you know, they go their separate ways. And I was talking to my friend last night, sitting there in Lachlan Dale, who's from Australia, was messaging me back and forth. We were talking about players. We were actually talking. He was a tough way to end. And Lachlan played for the Padres organization, and he played in Fort Wayne a few years back, and he knows the drill. He knows how empty it can be, how it hurts, and all that, and it does. And guys go their separate ways, and sometimes you don't see them again. Yeah, it was a great season, Sean. It was. Appreciate you. Karen, what did I miss? Karen says, and by the way, Sean, thank you for your support. And that's why I'm doing the show today. I was laying there in my bed, tired as I went back. Let me go back to what I was saying. I didn't get in late. I sat there reflecting and all that, and I'll get back to that in a moment. I'm laying in bed this morning, still dragging ass, and I'm going, you know what? I need to get up and get going. I got a flight to catch tonight. I need to finish packing my one bag. I had the other bag packed for Milwaukee. I got to come back on Monday, and I got to wrap my stuff up for the season. I got to wrap up for the week, run to McDonald House. I got to meet with the ball club. I got to read their season reports by Friday, and I got to be in Lubbock on Saturday. So, I mean, it's a pleasant problem to have, which I was going to do anyway. All this did was move my travel up a week. I was going to be doing this next Friday anyway. So, I mean, the flying out and all that. But, so yeah, I'm laying there going, I'm going to get my butt in gear. And I realize, wait, there's a show. It's showtime. We do shows win or lose. We do this win or lose. We don't go into a hole because we lost, and we're going to celebrate, and that's what we're going to do. Because my thing is, as I've told several, this thing's built for the long haul. This is not being in someplace else where you're changing managers and all that. As long as Joe Capietra's here on the field, you're fine. As long as Mark Brandmeier and Bob Kendrick are working out their deal, this brand is fine. So, you know, I wouldn't be anywhere else. I mean, that's just the bottom line. In this league right now, as we sit here on September 16th, I wouldn't be anywhere else. There's no better situation. I don't care what you say. I don't care what awards people get. I don't care. Doesn't matter. Dan, please pass along our thank yous to all the organization from the top to bottom. Also appreciate it. We really enjoyed our season this year. Looking forward to next. Yes, I'd agree. Yeah, I would agree. Thank you very much, Ken. I will. Thank you guys. Thank you, Kenny. Yeah, it sucks. It was painful. It's funny. I was a person of faith, and I don't. Let's change this over here. Sorry. There we go. I'm dragging today. As a person of faith, I don't often talk about that. It's not the platform, but I did say several prayers yesterday that I hope I'll be dignified and not be a jerk watching Fargo slam champagne and throw bottles toward our dugout. And I was very good about that. I walked over and congratulated Jack. And, you know, I go back to my old man saying back in the day, he used to say, you know, when we were little kids playing soccer, we'd go shake their team's hand. And it used to drive him crazy because back in his day, shaking the hand of the team that kicked your butt was not the thing. Just wasn't. Now we all patronize each other and get our photos together and we trade jerseys and all. That's it's cool. We've come a long way as a people. So I guess there's that. But I still resonate with that. I'm not the best sport. I'll admit that, especially against certain teams. A couple teams out there in the world and sport that I just can't stand to get beat by. Kenny knows one of them because they play in Austin. The other one plays in the Northeast in the NFL. That's all I'll say. Let's see here. Good to see you, Mom. Who else out there? Tim, good to see you too. Who's K-State got this weekend, Tim? I hadn't even looked. I should know this. I looked at the lines last night, and I just briefly, before I went to bed, could try to just do something in my head. I tried to start a new show last night on Netflix, I liked the first episode, but then I caught myself drifting away, not asleep, but drifting away to the ball game again. No roaster today. I'm about to go do my workout, so I'm hydrating for that after we talk here. But anyway, yeah, I want to be a good loser, and it's hard. It's tough. It's tough to do that. It's tough. And yeah, you know what? We did it. The sun came up today. I will see my wife tonight. We'll go. Life goes on. We'll reflect as we go forward. Boy, this team. Then I was putting in the press release, the story last night. All this team accomplished, and it was a ton. And it's an empty feeling. It's the winner and loser syndrome. I put it on my social page too. It's winners and losers. But I say this. There's two things I always say, and I remember telling my wife this several times, and she's heard me say it. You never know when this road's going to come your way again. That's why every time you're on it, you embrace it, right? You embrace that road. That's why I keep saying to you guys all summer, last summer, season before, embrace this time. I've told my Chiefs brethren, embrace this time right now. Because there'll be a time when you don't have number 15. Because we used to have number 8 and number 12 in Dallas. We don't have them anymore. Or number 22. You embrace these times, live in the moment, like Joe and I talk about in the air on our pregame shows, live in the moment, and look back and reflect with a nice reflection of a cold glass or whatever. I say that first, and I add this to it. That being said, as long as, like I just mentioned, as long as Mark Brandmeyer and Bob Kendrick agree the Monarchs are a great thing, and we know it's a great thing, and as long as Joe Capiatra makes that lineup card down there with his mates Bill Selby, Frank White, John West, who, by the way, congratulations, John, Clubby of the Year. I had a hard time keeping that secret all week. Hard time keeping that secret. And, Matt Hall and Jared Bishaw, that staff down there, as long as those guys are making those calls, I'm not telling you we're champions every year. That's not what I'm saying. But you're going to be in the mix. And since Joe's been here, you've set record totals and wins. This was, by the way, this year was second most ever. You won the division, yes, under a different name, but you won the division, 3 times? This division was no joke. I mean, you caught them on the last day. Yes, they won the bigger prize, and that's a whole different story. But you've also, did you have any doubt from July on you'd be in the playoffs? No. Did you feel pretty strongly this team was a Final Four? There was Final Four teams left. I mean, I would say this thing's in pretty good shape. I would tell you that outside of probably Milwaukee, who's making their second trip in 2 years. Now, that being said as well, the 2020 season does count to a degree, but it was only a short season with 6 teams. I asterisk that. It doesn't mean they didn't win a championship. They did. They deserved the tip of the cap, but they didn't play a full season, okay? So 18 and 21, you won full seasons, okay? 19 and 22, you won 2 divisions. So the last 4 years you played, you've accomplished 2 division titles and 2 titles. Who out there would not take that? Give me a sports franchise out there that would say, that's not good enough. That's on par with the guys across town at Arrowhead, what's it called? Gia something. That's on par with them, right? On par with the great Royals of the 80s. I mean, that's great. And it's not like all of a sudden, okay, well, Joe's retiring and whatever. We survived that whole transition. We're only going to get stronger as a brand, as a team. So anyway, all right, let me go ahead and what you guys have to say here. Enough of me preaching to you. It's the Baptist in me. Let's see here. It's my first season working the Monarchs. The team store city says elsewhere. I met so many nice people, fans, and coworkers. It wasn't like a job at all. I had fun every single day I worked. You know what, Cindy, can I borrow that and just steal that and post that as well? Because that's exactly how I feel. Yes, it can be mind-numbing and draining and hard-ass work sometimes. There are days where I barely get it done. There are days I do. But the people I work with, work around, the fans I see, the relationships you build, it doesn't seem like work to me. I think I told my wife this several times as well. When I put that microphone on, I'm talking to Mark or whoever on the air, and we're calling the games, or we, after the game is over, having a cold one, whatever, as a staff. I mean, that's the moment that I realize that I'm blessed to do what I do. That's not really a job. Yes, it's a job. I joke about it a lot. I do it for free. No, I won't. I can't do it for free. My wife would be pretty upset with me, but I do love it. I love it. I love being there and working the team store, working in the broadcast booth. I had a conversation with Nolan Brooks today, a Noble, who's a great dude. Noble, so happy. Nolan worked for me too. He worked for me at 18. He was on my staff at 18, media team. He was great. He's graduated. He came back to work in the production department this year. He was so happy to be back. What a great addition. And he was telling me just basically the same thing you said, Cindy. I mean, it's great to be back. What a great year it was. And in your case, Cindy, glad you're part of the family. Glad you're part of the family. Let's see here. Mark says the game result was we wanted, but it was great. Yes, it was. And I don't subscribe to the whole, hey, one of the two really good. I say as a broadcaster, one really good team's going to lose. And that's the fact. One really good team lost. And they won't make no mistakes about it. One really awesome team in this league lost. And maybe one of the best teams this league's had in a long time. And it happens. It happens all the time in sport. That's why we have playoffs. I mean, we didn't succeed in the playoffs. We made mistakes and did not do what we've been doing. That's the key. When I gave you the keys of the series, what I say, do what you've been doing. You didn't do it for 2 of the games. You made some costly errors and never got the offense going. And I tell you, if you do what you do on Wednesday, you don't have to worry about Thursday. But they didn't, and that happens. That's sport. It's no indication of the quality of the team. It's no crime. That's the way sports go. As Ron Washington used to say, the old Ranger manager, now the bench coach for the Braves, that's the way baseball go. It's also the way sports go. You know, I remember sitting there as a kid watching, it was North Carolina State pull off the upset over University of Houston, or Villanova beat Georgetown. You're like, what? It's supposed to happen. Well, they did. Any given day, everybody wears uniforms, all that. And the one thing I'll take away from the performance side, Mark, I said this a bit yesterday. I feel like playoff baseball becomes football mentality for us because we break down every game. You know, we talk about baseball math and the big picture of the season, but an individual small, ultra microscopic sample sizes, we become football guy. And football guy would tell you that we did some football guy bad things. Doesn't reflect upon the team being a bad team. At that point, Wednesday, I mean, there's no doubt they let that one get away. I mean, how many times this team was up 3-1 this year and put the screws down, would go up 3-1, 6-1, 8-1, and roll the game away. Let them hang around, made a crucial error. The game turns out differently. But again, those plays have to be made, and they weren't made, and they don't always get made in the course of a season. In a one-game sample size, it didn't get made. And then last night, you ran into a guy who I'd like to see play overseas in Australia. Peyton Wigginton was a stud. That guy was great. That's the best pitcher we've seen all year. Period of the story. Besides Matt Hall. Okay, let me rephrase that. Besides Matt Hall. Here's a rookie who was pitching at Middle Tennessee last spring, comes in this league, and on a do-or-die game, goes out there and was a stud. Now, granted, the crowd was small. Wasn't anybody there. There was not any energy, but that's not the point. You've got to perform. And if he would have gone out last night and cratered, would anybody blamed him? No. Especially to our club. And maybe a little bit, the holes finally cut up with you a little bit. Maybe these guys finally, the missing the big city and missing, David Williams did finally catch up to you. It did, but you plugged those holes admirably. You plugged those holes so much you caught the division leaders. So I'd say it was a success. So yeah, you're right. Not to see one of it. Lots of love for everybody. The mates out there were great. You listeners are great. We got some good ideas. I had a really good idea. I think Mark, you may have been on this too, but that Studio sent to me and tweeted to me, and I think it's a good idea worth looking into. Got hydrated. Long day ahead. Not that long. It's halfway over, right? Thanks for talking about the ledge. Yeah, it came over a lot. I mean, it came a lot. And it sucks. You and I are competitive guys, Kenny. We know it works. It sucks. But, I mean, unfortunately, and it's the old saying, winners and losers on the scoreboard, I guess, right? It sucks. It's like I told Chad, I hope that when we win, I'm a homer. I admitted that to him. I'm a homer, and I'm not going to lie about that. But I hope when I win that I celebrate our win respectably and not rub people's face in it. What I mean by that is not talking crap, not being a jerk, doing it with class. And I think Joe's bunch does it with class. Always have. They win with class, lose with class. And I think it was all clear last night when they're coming out to celebrate. Bill Selby shakes two of their coaches' hands as he walks by. That's got to be hard. He's walking the line there trying to get around to our dugout and go back to the clubhouse, and he's got to shake their hand. That's a classy move. Not everybody does that. Not everybody does that. So anyway. All righty. Yeah, Kenny, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate you. I really appreciate the radio broadcast. Hey, I appreciate it, Mark. I really appreciate you. I want to improve a couple things in the office. Well, for next year. There's a lot of folks who tune in who don't get in the chat. That's okay. I'm cool with that. I'm thinking about setting up sort of some kind of, I don't know if it's a broadcast page. I know Mixlr has a page. They do have one. Broadcast Facebook, something where you can all kind of meet together. And if you're not everybody's got to be in the chat and be interactive. That's fine. I don't need it. Nobody has to be. We don't need everybody to do that. That's cool. But there's a lot of people out there listen who kind of get that they don't want to get involved in the chat. That's cool. But I want to have more communication with you guys next year. And how I do that, I don't know. And maybe just having a broadcast page where you guys can go and sound off on fun topics or whatever. Or maybe it's a show. Maybe this show grows. Maybe you guys tune in the show. It's hard for, when Hardman DB is never consistently on time. That's part of the problem too. Maybe I'll lose 50 more pounds and then I'll be in such great shape. I won't work out. I'll work out at 6 a.m. as opposed to noon. There's that idea. But yeah, I appreciate you guys. And I appreciate where you're listening. That's the thing. I really want to and I did a good job of that, I thought 2 years ago, of bringing in folks from across the globe. And I would like to see us bring in folks from across the globe and know where people, hey, I want to know where, and I know Mark's listening, and he didn't have to be on the chat, but I know Mark's listening in North Carolina. I want to get more of that back and forth. Maybe it's email, text. Heck, my phone number is on the friggin' everywhere. I mean, I don't hide my phone number, which is unfortunate because I get a lot of spam, but I don't hide my number. So anyway, Mark, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being a part of it, and I just love it. We're going to do discussion shows. Yes. Mark, good question. And I was mentioning that earlier. I haven't looked at the calendar yet, but let's sort of plan on it, as I kind of was going to look at it next week, and I was kind of counting my chickens, right? I thought I'd do it at the bus. This is kind of that time when game notes are small or thinner for me, and the reports are smaller, and I can kind of focus on the transition. But yes, the show is called Reign Reborn. And what we did last year, we did two versions. I would do a show on a Wednesday, usually, if my schedule worked out for it. And then we would do the live show, and I'd also repurpose some of that with a podcast edition, which is also on it's on Buzzsprout. You can go back and listen to the old episodes from last year, which will have the interviews. Also, we'll have Monarchs flashbacks, and I'll bring the greatest hits from the year before of Monarchs 101, some of the things the museum we've been talking about. We try to educate about the museum. It's not nowhere near as polished as what Bob does with Black Diamonds, but it's something along those lines with this team mixed into it. Joe and I usually visit on our show about once every month. I haven't put the schedule together yet, but I'm sure it'll be very similar to what we did last year. We'll probably do a show sometime in October. We'll maybe early November. We'll dry dock for about a month. Let people kind of settle in, get the routine, and once things start to come around. But really, once the schedule comes out, Mark, that's when we dive in. Because when the schedule comes out, we know, okay, that's where we're going to be. We're going to be in Winnipeg in June, or we're going to have fireworks here, and we'll bring Morgan on. We do a lot of that. Morgan will join me and keep us updated on promotions. There's always an event here and there. Last year was an anniversary event I came in for in Kansas City. We shot the show there. We'll be looking forward to as announcements come along. Whether it be last year, we covered the announcement of the Bananas. We had Jesse Cole on the show from the Bananas. all that. We had a lot of, we had Jameson McGrain on. And we'll do that as guys, and we'll get the hot stove updates. So yes, that show at the moment usually airs live on Wednesday, and then you can watch it repurposed here or on YouTube. And again, the podcast edition comes out on Fridays. I found that Fridays are a great day for podcasts in the spring and the winter. A terrible day in the not a bad Mondays. Tuesday's your best day for a podcast, but for us with the Chiefs playing, Friday's a killer. So I usually go, when the Chiefs aren't. Once football's over, I move the podcast to Friday. When it's football's going on, I try to put the podcast out right away on Wednesday because you don't want to get too close to the weekend. It gets lost in the shuffle. But if I get something Tuesday, Wednesday, but Tuesday's too early in the week for me to get the show prepared. So we do it we start off once a month, usually go in November once, and then usually twice in December, like a Christmas special usually. And then we do 2 in January. Then we start by we get to February, we start doing them every 2 weeks. And then by March, we do them every week. And then by middle of March every week. And then April, we do them every week. And then May, we come right back into every week, the first 2 weeks. We start this show again. We start Monarchs Mocha then when the season starts. So, yeah, that's going to be going on. And we'll be doing that. So, please, you can follow me on Twitter, Mark Dan Vaughn Jr. That'll give you updates when the show comes out. We're going to do it. So, yes. Amazing season, Patrick. Yes, M8 shirts. I've got a couple of things in mind for that. And I did talk to Paul Morgan yesterday about that overnight. I couldn't help but chat with him last night. He's in his office in Subiaco in Perth, and it's 3:45 in the afternoon, and it's 2:45 here in the morning, and he's like, dude, you're still up? Yeah, mate, he didn't call me dude. Mate, you still up? Yeah, tough one. We're chatting back and forth. But, yeah, T-shirts. A mate's page might be good. So that's what I needed from you guys. Karen, that's okay. I see that. That works. I've toyed with the idea a couple of times of starting a broadcast page, but I like that idea. I like that idea a lot. Like it. That is the idea. Like it. Like that a lot. So anyway, had a great year. Let's see. ABL updates. At the moment, I'll be honest with you. I don't know when I'm going. I don't know what I'll be doing. I don't know. Perth and I have reached an impasse. I'm a little shocked by that, quite honestly, but I think we'll work something out. But I will be there at some point. When that will it be? Right now, it looks like I'll be there after the first of the year and call the last month and be involved in the postseason run. That's the way it looks, which is sort of what has been done, which was the plan in 20, and was what I did in 19 and 20. Well, of course, the season got shut down, the pandemic, but that's what it looks like right now. But we'll see. I'm still working with the Heat from a distance. So, matter of fact, I've got a couple phone calls a day with players we're trying to procure over there, and I'm working on that for the ball club. So the broadcast is kind of in the air. There's some changes going on, and we got to work those out. So how that looks and works, I don't know. We'll start our show called Talking Baseball Australia. We're working on some of that. That'll start here in a month. We get closer to in October because the season starts in November. But yes. So, yes, that's the plan. Good to see you, Craig, up in Canada today. But, yeah, anyway. See Meredith out there, and her son Brennan is doing a great job up there in Billings. All that. Congratulations to him. But a lot of thank yous on the final show of the regular season. Thank you to, obviously, the Roastery Coffee Company. But for all you folks who, when you come in for a game, your host parents, your radio broadcast listeners, not everybody listens to the radio, some listen to the TV side. Your staff member, you're a coworker, you're a player, you're all these people. It takes the collective. I talk about this all the time. When you lose a star, the collective has to raise their level, and our collective does that. And there's so many people that you could thank, and that mean, are the grease in the squeaky wheel. I mean, my wife, for example. I don't think anybody realizes what she does. She proofreads game stories, helps our interns, and does it because she wants to. No one pays her a buck. After driving up here with the dog for 7.5 hours, every other week. I mean, the woman's awesome. She puts up with me. That's the start. There's so many of you guys who, just the love that you share. Mark, it was good to see you guys last night. I didn't post that picture too. Marcus Lily wife came up last night, said hi after the game. There's so many people, guys like Andy Lee, our chaplain, who helps these guys in a lot of ways, just with thoughts and prayers and just a kind word and a place to chat about something they're upset with. These guys have hurts. They're away from home, and these host parents are there too. It's a lot of thank yous, a lot of people that do help us do what we do. We all have our place, and I think we've all learned that through the pandemic that we went through. Everybody has their place. Everybody has their value. Everybody can contribute, and we're not all not all of us are stars. Not all of us are going to get the accolades. I mean, that's not something a lot of us get. I never get them. It's okay. I'm not up for broadcast of the year. I don't. It's not an award. It's not an award I'm gunning for. I'm gunning for the award that makes you guys happy, would be the best I can be for you and for the Monarchs. That's my goal. Great. Yeah, it was a great season, Mom, and I appreciate you, my mom's support and what she does. I mean, my mom listens every game. I got siblings of mine who don't listen, okay? They don't care. And it's okay. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. My in-laws were up last night listening. First text I got was from my father-in-law, you know? And we turned a lot of people into fans. My mom was there every time, but I love you, Mom. Appreciate it. But you guys are all legend. You guys all are legend. All legends. And I think, too, and something that I wasn't saying earlier, it was one more thing, too, Mark, that I'd like to get this show out next year. If I get the right staffing combinations, I can get this show out amongst you all on a random Wednesday when we're home. If I look at the schedule and say, okay, we're home Wednesday, let's go to the roastery. Let's go to the Ron McDonald House. Let's do it from there. Let's try to do some things for our sponsors. So this show's got the potential. I believe the broadcast has potential to do some things that other avenues in our ball club can't, because they don't have, I mean, merch is great because everybody, you can wear a shirt all around town. That merch does it. Tickets, they do a great job of entertaining you there. And what Morgan does a great job there in the ballpark, and she gets out and shows Monty around and all that. But I think the broadcast could get out and do some things with our listeners and our fans and say, hey, we're Monarchs fans and we're glad you support us. And we want to do that next year. So, thank you, Keith. I just saw your photos of your caps you're wearing, by the way, mate. And I saw your photos of you and your grandkids, man. You're proud grandpa. You're a good dude, man. And that's a great example. Keith is up in the South Shore, dear mate of mine, a Railcat fan. He's a Railcat legend, lumber recovery specialist, and the guy is just flat out legend, and he listens and follows, and I appreciate you, mate. You're a good dude, man. You're a good dude. Good mate of mine. Let's see here. Love you too there, KC. Some of the guys message thanking the fans for everything. Our fans are incredible. Our players are amazing. It's not a goodbye. It's not a goodbye. It's a goodbye for now, right? Because like I said earlier, as long as Mark Brandmeier and Bob Kendrick are doing the Monarchs thing, as long as Joe Capiatra's put that lineup card together, pretty good. Now, I would tell you, too, there's other pieces involved, too. The Morgans of the world, Nate Herrings, people like that, Bill Sobey, John West. I mean, there's a long list of people out there. Jim Cundiff. And we had the best food for the broadcast. Now, granted, I didn't eat any of it this year because I didn't eat it. But our broadcasters who come to town love coming here because the food's the best. They love coming here. I mean, Jack Michaels is the toughest palate to please in the league, the Fargo broadcaster. He's like, oh, this mac and cheese. Oh, Dan, let me tell you, Danny. It's great. And he's really, let me tell you, Danny, it's great. It's great. This mac and cheese is great. Steve Schuster came over to me, hey, I want to tell you, man, this barbecue is awesome. This is the best spread I've ever had. That's the broadcaster of the year telling me that, right? The Winnipeg broadcaster told me that was the best food he's had in any ballpark anywhere, anytime, any place. When he came back, he was like, oh, yeah. I mean, that's pretty impressive. So, Jim, way to go, man. So many good people. Patrick, I think they'll let me frame. Yes, Patrick, you could. I'm telling you, I know it sounds crazy when I say this about coffee culture in Australia and Kansas City. They're very similar. And again, as one who makes his winter home in the Metroplex, I got to tell you, in general, our coffee sucks. Not because we have bad coffee shops. We got some good ones. A Houndstooth is really good by my house. White Rock Roasters is really good. There's a guy from Perth who has a place called LDP, I believe, which is there's 2 locations in Dallas. But there's, unfortunately, in DFW, because there's 8 million people there, that we've got a Starbucks literally on every block. And I'm not kidding when I tell you this. I can come out of my house, go on a street called Royal. Royal goes about a mile down to Preston Road. On Preston Road alone, which has got Northwest Highway, Walnut Hill, Royal Lane, and Forest Lane. That's 5 intersections. Starbucks, no Starbucks. Starbucks, Starbucks, and Starbucks inside the grocery store. So when I go to my app to go to get Starbucks, there's like these dots everywhere because they become so sad. And again, I'm not pounding on Starbucks because, believe me, when I go to the airport in the morning, Monday morning, flying back to Kansas City, I'm going to be grabbing me one at the airport at DFW. It's convenient. But real coffee culture is what the roastery does, what we do in Perth too. And Australia does a great coffee culture. When Peter Molo was here, Molo used to make coffee in the clubhouse for the Royals. By the way, the manager of the Melbourne Aces, by the way. But I'll get to that in a moment too. I had talked about that a moment ago. But yeah, the coffee culture is here, Patrick. So let's bring one over. Let's take a roastery over. I'll tell you what, the Australians don't do what they would like is the flavored cold brews. They do a lot more what they call flat whites, chopped and long macs, a lot more foamy stuff. But the cold brews, their iced coffee over there is more like a milkshake. They'll take an iced coffee and put ice cream in it, which is really good. But their cold brew usually just pretty bland. It's usually basically it's a cold coffee over ice. And I think that would go well. The chocolate and the nitro both. You can get a good nitro Melbourne some here and there. But you're more likely to get a Victorian bitter there than a beer than you are a cold nitro cold brew. But the coffee culture is very similar. And for size the city Kansas City is, it's awesome. The roastery's got 6, and there's several other locations of other coffee companies in town that are really good. There's some really good ones around that I've been to as well, and they're really good. And I've never been to a city like that. Literally, when you are in Kansas City proper, there's really good coffee here. More so than any place else in North America outside of maybe New York and maybe Seattle. I mean, LA is like DFW. You got the Starbucks every freaking corner. Again, not knocking Starbucks, because I go there all the time. They know me there. I walk in my Monarchs cap on. They're, oh, you're back in Kansas City, Dan. Yeah. How's season? They all know. But again, I love they know me. But it's also mass produced. And I read today where Starbucks wants to be faster. Okay. Turn them to Macca's, the McDonald's of coffee, which, it's kind of what it's become. Anyway, all right, let's get back. You guys get me fired up. You guys get me fired up and passionate here. Let's see. Kevin says, I saw my Facebook memories 4 years ago today. I was bombing championship series and lost to KC. Baseball season is like a real bad roller coaster. It's a fun ride, but a crash in it, yes. You're right. Kevin, I'm going to tell you, I'll be honest. I don't care one iota who wins that series, and I will not watch a bit of it. The only way I would watch anything of that, I'll look the score up probably. My Twitter feed will tell me enough. I'm not watching. I don't care. And I told this to Adam last night. I watch about, probably during the season, I probably watch, the only other team I watch is the highlights on Twitter and on Carter's Whip Around. I know that these guys are good broadcasters. I hear them next door. I know that. But I don't watch Fargo's games. Watch Winnipeg's games. I'll look at their highlights, but I'm not watching their game. I'm breaking them down. I'm not going to sit on my couch and watch AA baseball TV. Not because I hate AA baseball TV, but I'm down out. When this show's over and I get in that plane tonight, 3, 2, 1, vamos a la casa, baby. Vamos a la off-season and prepare for 23. Nothing against the Fargos and the Milwaukees, but honestly, And I'll give you one more thing, Kevin. This may upset the apple cart a little bit, but I'm not really a fan of watching a game on TV with 30 people in the stands. That's not exciting. How's that exciting? It's not exciting at all. So there's that. That's a problem we've talked about over and over. But yeah, Kevin, and I remember you were here. Kevin and I had a lot of time together that week, and he was here covering, and he's also a fan of the Saints. And that was a tough loss. They did make it up the next year, though, and that happens, and it's hard. It's a punch in the guts. I looked down the last night, Fargo flinging the champagne bottles toward our dugout and cheering for Jack, and I'm sitting up there trying to keep my composure and tell everybody goodbye. Sucks, man. It hurts. Flat out hurts. Somebody's got to win. Somebody's got to lose. And goodbyes are always hard this time of year. It doesn't matter if it's Labor Day or last game of the season. Even when we won the championship last year, it was hard to say goodbye. I didn't want to turn that microphone off. I didn't want to turn the gear off. I want to go down and grab a quick beer, but I didn't want to turn it off. That means it's done for the year. I got to start planning for next year. All the things I worked on this year are now useless. Not useless, but they're not good anymore. The open and close cart, not any good anymore. The spots are not any good anymore. They're all, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, Kevin, you're right. All right, I'm a little confused on the division championship thing. Quite honest, we are the division champions, but when Fargo, but so is Fargo. Yes, it's ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous. It's confusing. It's wrong. I said this earlier before you came on. The Monarchs won the West Division of the American Association regular season. Fargo won the West Division Championship Series postseason. It makes no sense. They need to rename that because it makes it sound like we didn't win anything. Now, granted, they're going for the bigger prize and it's sour grapes here, but my wife said this 3 weeks ago. Why are you playing for the same thing again? They renamed the Championship Series the Miles Wolff Cup. I would propose the Division Championship Series should be called something along the lines of, I don't know, give me another important person in this business. I don't know. Kevin, who would you name it after? Who's a legendary owner or legendary person in this league that needs, or independent ball needs to be recognized? Somebody out there. Somebody out there in the Independent Hall of Fame should be the such and such cup. The West Division insert name cup, right? Because you got to differentiate, because all that does confuses the fan. If you're trying to make the fans understand what we're doing, all you do is confuse them. Right? We have people that we work with that don't understand it. They're like, well, why are we playing for what we already won? That's why in the NFL or the NBA or whatever, you have the NFC East. You win the NFC East. Then you win the NFC. Then you win the Super Bowl, right? AFC West. You win the AFC. You win, you know what I'm saying? You're a wild card. Well, how'd you get the playoffs? You win the wild card round. But we have it. It's very confusing. We're not perfect. I know that. And I know I catch heat from it because a lot of people don't like the fact, well, I shouldn't say that. A lot of people like the fact I'll speak my mind. But when I speak my mind, I'm not just talking out of my backside. I'm talking with experience that I've been around this a little while. If the fans are confused, well, you know how I'm confused. And it is confusing. But yes, to clarify, we won the West Division regular season, not Western, West. But we also lost in the West Division Championship Series. So does it mean we tied? We 1-1? It's confusing. We need to differentiate the two, right? Don't we all agree that? It's a bad, and I saw that post on Fargo, and it's not their fault. That's the fact. They're the West Division Championship Series winner. But they didn't win the West Division. But why play for West Division if it doesn't? If we're going to play for division title, why play for one? Why don't just play for we played for to pick our opponent, which is another bogus thing. Again, that's going to upset the apple cart again. If you want to pick your opponent, let's pick all of them. I want to play whoever. If I win the division, I want to play the team that came in last. I want to play Lake Country. Let's really throw a wrinkle in it. Give Lake Country a lifeline, right? I want to play Sioux Falls again. Give them a chance. I mean, And it's something I had a conversation with an unnamed person in this league who I respect dearly, who told me, I hope they do something about these things. That's a person who's respected in this league who a lot of people respect, told me that very same thing 48 hours ago. So, again, DB upsets the apple cart again. It is confusing, though. Yeah. But but it's not, it is important, Mark, but it's not. Because this league is to play to win. That's the goal, right? Don't we all agree that's what their motto is? That's what the league motto is. I'm not talking about the Monarchs motto. Their league motto, play to win. Well, I would think that, winning that division means something. And winning the playoff means something. They should be differentiated by a name of some sort. And I propose, again, to name it after, we got Miles Wolf, who's the founder of this thing. I mean, there's got to be someone, I can't think of who, but Kevin, some of the old Northern League that should be named as one of the league, if you win one division. It's kind of like the Lamar Hunt Trophy, right? We don't know what that is. That's the trophy to go wins the AFC, right? You have the Chiefs founder, father of Clark, founder of the AFL and Super Bowl and all that, right? And, of course, it's not the ultimate prize, but it's an honored prize. It's a prize you want. It's one you want in your trophy case. Because I think division titles are important too. I mean, if you're going to put up banners at wherever, let's say Atlanta, World Series, division champion, whatever. Well, so you're going to have two teams in the same championship in the same year. It's syntax, I know, but still. All right, where are we at? It's been a ride. Yeah, best to you, mate. Man, you are a legend. There's a couple of folks. We have a huge team of associates. We call them. Jay calls them. I call them just team members, but whatever. My team, his team, Morgan's team, Nick's team, everybody's team that are going places. I mean, these kids are going places. I can't keep up, but this kid right here, he's going to Sporting KC, going to run that. He'll be running that place. Children's Mercy. Guy's a flat legend. Jackson Webb, for example, out of Fort Hays. You'll see him again, by the way. If I have my way, you'll see him again. I mean, Caitlin, who was on my staffs at KSU, rocking it right now. And I can go back year after year, and Morgan knows this. We have a long list of folks that have done that. So anyway, it's QT around it. What did I say? Oh, yeah. Yes. And I love the QT as well, Tim. We have those too. I think they're out of Oklahoma City, maybe. I used to drive by the regional office every day. And QT, they're everywhere. I'll be going there shortly with my price chopper discount to fill up my sled because I'm down to, I've been so into what I'm doing, going back and forth to the ballpark the last week that I have 100 miles left, 80. So now I'm down to like 30, and now I'm probably down to 20. So I got to tell my wife, never let it go below 100. And now I'm down to 20. I got to get gas. First thing I do is get gas out of here this afternoon. I was proud of you guys at the ballpark too. I wish I could give you all something because, I get it, man. It's hard. It's hard in this market. It was a hard uphill battle yesterday. I know it was tough, but I appreciate you. I saw you all down there. It's tough. The only thing I can think of, maybe we could have played the day. That's all. But people have been tailgating anyway. People be whatever. It was tough, but I thank you, Donnie, and I appreciate you guys. You guys are always there. And I would encourage us to continue to share that love and spread that love and say, look, this is what we go do in the summer. And I've seen this I'll give you a great example. I got a mate of mine named Harold. Harold lives in Perth. Harold is a musician by trade. He's a really cool guy. Teaches music classes. Is a professor work at the University of Western Australia. Um, Harold Wigley's a great guy. I met him through a couple of friends of mine. Uh, the Quackenbush, that's who I met. And husband and wife who lived in Perth when I first year there. She's from Australia. She's originally from, I believe, Melbourne. And then he is from Houston. Houston means that I want. He's a musician. And they met in Missouri down at Lake of the Ozarks. What am I thinking of? Where all the acts at? Where all the country acts go? All the dinner theaters. What is that? I'm thinking of Lake of the Ozarks. What's the town? Springfield? Is that it? No, what is it? I can't think of the name of that place. In Missouri. Anyway, he was playing for Mel Tillis. He played steel guitar for Mel Tillis. It's a long story, but it's a good one about baseball. He played for Mel Tillis. He met his wife, Pam, and they met there. Branson. That's it, Branson. She was working for Merle Haggard at the time, and a couple other than that, and doing business accounting for them and work for them in helping their tours and also their shows. She was kind of an office person. He was working a steel guitar. They met, and they get married in the States, and they go back to Australia because she had some heart issues, and her health care in Australia was free. Well, freer than it is here. So they go back to Australia, and I meet them at the Perth Heat game. My first day I'm there, we had a meet the team deal, and I was there, brand new guy, and they knew I was from Texas doing the PA, and he heard about it, and he came over. Pam and Milt come over to me and introduced me to themselves, and we became fast friends. They were kind of like my surrogate host parents. I mean, I did my Thanksgiving year and Christmas at their house, and just they were great. And they're still dear friends of mine. They've since moved to Brisbane. Anyway, long story short, they kept bringing this bloke named Harold to the ballpark. Now, Harold was an Australian through and through, cricket, rugby, give me a pint, a tinny, whatever. He'd been to the States, but he was not a U.S. sports guy, okay? He didn't understand NFL. He knew basketball sort of, but he didn't know anything about baseball. He learned baseball through Pam and Milton, who would watch the Cardinals games on delay and the Braves games on delay back in Australia, and he started getting to baseball. And he wanted to go. He found out there's a team that Pam and Milton had tickets. He starts coming out in the ballpark. He would start coming out one game a series. The next year was two. Now he's a freaking season ticket holder and the biggest fan there is out there because someone introduced him to the brand of the game in the Perth Heat. And that conversation of a couple musicians who played together in bands at different clubs and knew each other, that's how it grows organically. So that long story I tell you of Australia is what we all need to do. And I think Donna is a great example. Donna, you guys, you and hubby are great about that. And I know so many of you are out there. I saw the men's earlier. The Hans, Mark, all you folks, the M8s, you're all like that. You're always inviting people in. And that's what we got to do as well. Now, let the ball club do the promotion side of it. We got to also promote organically. And my buddy Harold now tunes into our games when he can, when he's up. And he always wants to know when the voice of the Heat's coming back. When's the voice of the Monarchs on? The guy didn't grow up playing baseball, and I remember a couple times he'd sit me down and would watch a replay, and he'd let me explain to him what was going on, things he didn't understand. He'd fast forward to the DVD or the DVR. That's what we got to do. So anyway, you got me. Hope says we got to finally Adam last night for about 12 seconds before he left. I just have a chance. That's awesome. Yeah, I saw you guys down there. And I just couldn't get down there. I was too busy up the stairs, and then I just couldn't leave the booth. Oh, it was hard. Kevin, last night was tough to watch. I'd imagine the players had to create their own excitement. It was. But, my job goes on regardless. I broadcast. You know what? Still doing the broadcasting in a slow night in Sioux City in June. Fight through it. It's no worse to have the couple debate about Applebee's or Chili's. Fight through it. But it doesn't mean it'll always be that way. But yes. Makes sense. I don't get it. We're the West Division champions in the discussion. Yes, I agree. I agree totally. And I agree. They got to change that. The league's not perfect. The league's run by humans who are not perfect. And I've learned that. I used to be scared of the league and worried that they might get mad at me. Well, they're not perfect. They're humans who are not perfect. I'm a human who's not perfect. I make mistakes every 5 seconds. I'm not perfect. I hope they will learn from that. I learn from my mistakes. They're not perfect. They're not judge, jury, and executioner. They just run a league and they've got to do some things better. And they're always doing it. They're on the right track. I mean, what they're doing in the league is phenomenal. Jay McCrance did a great job this year, and both Joshes are great. I may upset the apple cart a little bit, but doesn't mean I don't like them and care for them and love them and want them to do well. I want them to do well. I have no hate at all whatsoever. But that's point blank right there. It's confusing. And if we're trying to grow if you want fans to care about Fargo and Kansas City or Winnipeg and Cleveland, you got to clarify things like this. Don't make it confusing. I mean, just saying. Steve, I've been working my butt off. Dan's still going to love you, MMAs. Yes. Love you too. I think you guys are onto something, Chris, about this whole section. I got to think about it a little bit. But I think there's something there. Something there, and maybe sponsorable club-like special club that you got to be a part of. You just can't buy. I think. Yes, exactly. No doubt about it. Yep, we won. We can't be denied. There was a talk about a media person cheering the photo wells. I took care of it, and it's all good, no drama. But that did it. That was an example of why the difference between what you can and can't do. That I was trying to use that as a case point that if you are attached to a club, it's hard not to be. You just can't put your neutral hat on. If you're attached, if you're a host parent and you're attached, you just can't not be a host parent. You cannot care. If you're, BJ and Donna who love their players, they can't still be attached to Christian Correa who played here 3 years ago. Right? You just can't. And that's what I was trying to say is comparing that, there's some media that can do it. If you're covering a team for an outlet, it's one thing. If you're covering a team for a team, it's hard not to get attached. It's hard not to. That's why I don't apologize for being a homer. I do not apologize for wanting the Monarchs to win and your team to lose. I'm not apologizing. I want those fans to listen to us. I was glad we had Fargo fans tuned in. That's honoring me because Jack Michaels is a stud. Jack Michaels is a legend. And the fact that one of his listeners, just one, wanted to tune in is honored. I'm honored by that. That's an honor. Because at the end of the day, Jack Michaels is here, and I'm somewhere at the bottom of the barrel. And the fact that one of his listeners tuned in at 2, 3, 4, that's an honor to me, man. That's great. And they fought through it. Listen to me be a homer. I love it. Means I'm doing something right. Oh, they messed the bracket up, Mark. I didn't see that. Honestly, I'm trying to stay off Twitter today as much as I can. It's killing me, though. I want to see Tech and what they're doing because I know they got a big game, and I want to see all the teams are doing. I want to see the Chiefs highlights, and I'm just staying off. Great. Yes, they're great, man. I mean, great stuff. Great people. Branson, there we go. We're way behind here. Silver City. Yeah, Silver City. There you go. That's the casino I won my first jackpot at in Vegas back in the day, where Silver City sat right where the Mirage is now, which is about to be torn down, by the way. When they built the Mirage, they built that parking lot. There was a whole strip of mom and pop casinos you could pull up to, and they were like old West looking things. And I went there with my friend. I think it was my friend Candace when she lived there shortly when I was probably just 21, and went in this mom and pop casino, and they actually used coins. And I won like like $500 of quarters. I thought I was the bomb diggity carrying those big buckets around. Now that's all little tickets, but I got oops, sorry, 12 little paperclip. Oh no! Oh no! Oh yeah, they are amazing. Those kiddos are great. The Han family again, and these are relationships I thought about this today. I've become friends with some really cool people for the broadcast, and I think that what makes this situation different for me, I hope if the Royals call me tomorrow and said, "Look, we want you to be on the radio," I hope I'm still the same guy then. I want to be the same guy. I've always thought if I made it to that level, I'd be the same guy I am now. I want to be. Tell it like it is. Be your friend. Not big league you. Here's my number. Let's grab coffee. I hope. Now, granted, you can't do it to everybody, but because you would spend all your time having coffee with everybody. But I'd want to be mates with people. I would not. I want to do that. And that's the beautiful thing about this level. I can do that here. Not it's something we do. And I hope that if that time ever does come, if I'm ever blessed enough to be a big league broadcaster or whatever, that I hope that, and time's running out on that, getting a little old for that. But if I did, that I would be the same guy. So anyway, yes, the Han kids were in one of the races last night. You're very perceptive, very perceptive. All right. Once again, I'm going to the roastery on Monday. Restock because I'm not going to restock today. But go to the roastery on Monday. 6 locations in Kansas City. I hope they're back next year. I'll go see them personally to get them back. But anyway, let's do this. It's not too bad. Alrighty, last call here. I've been going way too long. I wanted to be out here by 2. I won't be out at about 4 now. I got to work out still, but I wanted to just have a chat with you guys and just say thank you for everybody's support. Thank you for being here on this show. Thank you for supporting the ball club. We have got great off-season coverage. By the way, Morgan's social media team ranked number 1 in the league. Fact. I hope this show is a little part of that. It's a small part, not a very small, minuscule part. My live shows and the live shows we do and the things we do, the social media, the booth cam, no one else is doing that. Cleveland's doing what we're doing. That's why they're also who do I believe will win the championship? I don't know. I don't know, mate. You want me to be okay? Honestly, I'll break it down for you. I'm not going to watch it, but I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I think this series goes 5 games. I think that you're going to have this is going to be a classic in a sense that both teams are going to be able to run some guys out that are going to lock you down. Don't sleep on Milwaukee's pitching. They've got some pretty good arms down there. Anthony Barone and Chris Coaster, both solid managers, are 2 people I like a lot. I know Anthony fairly well. He's a really good guy. But I think it'll be a low-scoring series. It'll go 5. I think the stars will be neutralized. Fargo's got better stars. The Pinos, Silvianos, that bunch. Those guys have got better star quality numbers. But, they've got role players like a Logan Trowbridge in Milwaukee, who I love a lot. He's a great ball player. And that the second baseman, my name escaped me now. Solid ball player. But I think it'll be low scoring, go 5. My guess is Fargo drops the first game and they will win the second game. Second game's a day game. And then I think they will come down to game 5 at home. I think Fargo probably comes down to game 5 and wins it at home. But that's just my handicapping it right there. But I will be the brave man and say Milwaukee wins the series. I'll say Milwaukee wins the series in 5. Probably piss my Fargo friends off. I just think that the championship was yesterday. The best team in the league won. The 2 best teams in the league played yesterday. And I don't know how much of a letdown that is. I don't think there will be, but I just They've had a lot of travel, and so Milwaukee had too. So they didn't travel too. But that's just my thought. Again, I won't be watching much of it, if any at all. 3-2-1 will be out. But that's what I think. I miss you too, mate. You're a good man. Miss the Monarchs family. Um, yes, Cleveland. It's funny. The two best social media teams in the league, this one and the Clevelands. They do a show. Brad does what we do. Brad does a great job. He's kind of a one-man band as well. They got a social person that does what Morgan does. They do a really good job. Other teams sort of. Jack does his own thing. We're on for the radio station, but no, there's some thing. Gary does some cool stuff. Sam Brief does some really good stuff for him. He does some really good Sam Brief stuff. Sam does a deal called Briefly Eating, where he goes on the road and checks out the food in the local town. Something I've been wanting to do, but I quite honestly just don't have time. I really want to do the Traveling Texan this year on the league, and there's a lot of places I tell you about in the league, but I just don't have time. I got to have help to do that. And I need someone to be able to do the things I don't have, the other things. And if I get that help, we can do it, but I just don't have physically enough time and pull broadcast off. So, but yeah, we'll do some things like that. But yes, we do. I think awesome job. We do a phenomenal job. You're going to see more of that. We're going to be improving this. It's always my goal to improve it. I love this system we're using, BeLive, but they always add new updates. I try to make it as professional as possible, as best I can, but play around with the little, things like, things like, guys seasick yet? All right. Stay tuned, but we will be announcing when the show begins again. It'll be Joe first. We'll have Joe on probably, I would imagine, around Halloween, early November, to kind of collect his thoughts if he has a chance to kind of relax and take a step back. I didn't know he was emotional last night. I think he was out there pretty quick. It hurt him bad. And I care about him deeply, and it hurt him bad. It hurt a lot of guys, a lot of people bad. The morgues out there hurt her. Anyway, all right, I got to go. I love you guys. Again, thank you for being here all year long. Thank you for supporting me and the broadcast, the team, the brand, the Monarchs. Go to the museum, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. I'm going down next week to kind of do a refresher course. I'm going to kind of go through and make some notes of things I need to make sure I get on next year. So I'm missing stuff I know. Also do some book shopping as well to see what I need to grab because I want to get some more reading done. The Oscar Charleston book was outstanding. And I'm going to do a Buck O'Neil book. I think that merits a story as well. All right, how about a 1, 2, 3 go Monarchs last time? You guys ready for that? Go see the roastery as well. And let's get the 1, 2, 3 go Monarchs. You guys all right? Everybody do it. Everybody do it. Everybody do it. Everybody do it. Here we go. Love you guys so much. And thank you for being you. As I say it every time, let's be better fans tomorrow we were today. Let's show more love tomorrow we did today going forward into 23. How about that? All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go Monarchs. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, go Monarchs. I'll see you in 2023. I promise. Somewhere, sometime, on the air. Oops, wrong one. There we go. Oh, there we go. Come on, Vaughn. There we go. Finish strong, Vaughn.